joining us, for accepting our invitation.
Okay, thank you.
I request Dr. Navneethan, our Professor of Surgery, to give us a welcome address for the students and the faculties.
Very good morning, one and all who is present on this webinar. I'm honored to welcome you all for this webinar about the management of carcinoma of breast from surgeon's perspective by our Department of General Surgery. I heartily welcome our Honorable Chairman, Mr. J. Satish Kumar sir, our respected Dean, Professor Dr. Shanmugam sir, our respected MS, Dr. N. Mohan sir, our respected DMS, Dr. Prasanna Babu sir, and our respected Vice Principal, Professor Usha Madam, and our chairperson, Professor V. Tinyana Sambandhan, Professor and HOD Department of General Surgery. And also I am privileged to welcome our chief guest, Dr. C. Ganga Lakshmi Madam, Professor and Head Department of General Surgery, Sivaganga Medical College, to honor this webinar and to share their knowledge about the management of carcinoma of breast in surgeon's perspective. And I also welcome all my colleagues and my dear students. Now I request our HOD to give introduction about the speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Navneethan, for giving us a welcome address. And I'm privileged to introduce my close friend and my undergraduate batchmate, Dr. C. Ganga Lakshmi. She did her undergraduation in Madurai Medical College from 1989 to 94. Then she worked as an assistant surgeon. Then she did MR surgery in 2004-2006 in same Madurai Medical College. She worked in Madurai Medical College, Thoothukudi Medical College, Tirunelveli Medical College, and currently she was holding the prestigious post of Head of the Department, General Surgery, Sivaganga Medical College, and she was also a Dean in charge for Sivaganga Medical College. So we are honored to have you here for the topic, and the target audience, the students, our students were there, final year students, and our surgeons and faculties are there, and we are very eagerly waiting to hear from you about this topic. And the mic is over to you, Dr. Ganga Lakshmi.
Okay, thank you for your nice introduction.
Just a minute, sir. I just want our Dean sir to say a few words. Dean sir and MS.
Okay.
Good morning to one and all. Thank you very much for inviting me for this. Respected medical superintendent, deputy medical superintendent, and professor lecturer at the Department of General Surgery, the faculties of General Surgery. I congratulate them for organizing this webinar regarding management of cancer breast. And I welcome Dr. Ganga Lakshmi, the professor HOD of surgery from Sivaganga Medical College and the Dean in charge. Thank you, madam, for accepting our invitation, and on behalf of the management, I thank you very much for accepting that. The topic is a very common topic, carcinoma breast. There are a lot of advances has happened in both radiotherapy and conservative surgery, in breast conservative surgery. That's more important in the present scenario. I hope you will highlight all about the latest happenings in the management of carcinoma breast and the surgical perspective. So I think it will be beneficial to the youngsters and young surgeons also. And being a surgeon, we know what are the stages we pass through. From the beginning, just the mutilating surgery, now it has come to very breast conserving, and a lot of advances happen in chemotherapy and radiotherapy and the surgical aspects also. We are also eagerly waiting to listen to you, how you are going to tell about the surgeon's aspect. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for giving an opportunity for the Department of General Surgery, and congratulate them for organizing a webinar on carcinoma of breast. Thank you very much.
So I request our medical superintendent, Mohan sir, to say a few words.
Good morning to all. Welcome, madam. Ganga Lakshmi, HOD. I am also a surgeon. We are all very much eager to know about the management of carcinoma of breast as a surgeon's perspective. I hope that it's even though it's common for undergraduate, postgraduate, and practicing surgeons, I thank our Department of Surgery and our HOD, Dr. Tirjana Sambandam and Navanidan and all others in that department. Hope it is, we will enjoy your topic and presentation. And mostly I thank our team and the management for encouraging and all these webinar even in this critical pandemic situation. I thank our DMS, Dr. Prasanna, also joining in this webinar. I wish the webinar all success. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
The mic is yours. You can start, Dr. Gangalakshmi.
Once again, I thank Annapurna Medical College Chairman, Dean, and HOD of Surgery for giving me this opportunity to present in this forum. Now we'll look into the topic management of carcinoma breast, surgeon's perspective. So this is the most common form of cancer among women, and also the second most common cause of cancer-related mortality. 1 out of 8 women have been affected. Coming to age, the incidence of breast carcinoma increases with age. More than 80% of the breast cancer cases occur in women more than 50 years of age, still uncommon before the age of 25 years. Approximately 10% of breast cancer is due to inherited genetic predisposition, and also a woman whose mother or sister had breast cancer is at increased relative risk of 2 to 3 times when compared to other women. Coming to the family history, 2 genes that predispose to breast cancer have been identified, BRCA1 and 2. This one BRCA1 is located in chromosome 17q. It's associated with the ovarian, colorectal, prostate cancer, and this BRCA2 gene is located in chromosome 13q. It's associated with the familial male breast cancer, and the p53 suppressor gene is also applicable for the carcinoma breast. Coming to the risk factors, mainly hyperplasia and atypical hyperplasia, and a history of cancer in the other breast, or with a history of ovarian or endometrial cancer, they also lead to risk factor of carcinoma breast. Hormonal factors, as you all know, the increased level of estrogen, which is early age at menarche, late age at menopause, nulliparity, late age at first childbirth, and obesity also constitute a risk factor. Coming to the environmental factors, high fat intake, excess alcohol consumption, and ionizing radiation also contribute to the risk factors. So mostly the etiology of breast cancer in most women is unknown. This is likely due to the combination of risk factors, genetic, hormonal, and environmental factors. So coming to the clinical examination, as all of the final students, we'll examine the patient in supine, sitting, and arms by the side, arms raised, hands on the hip, and leaning forward position. We should inspect both breasts simultaneously for asymmetry, look for any visible lump, and inspect the nipple areolar complex. Look for any discharge, destruction, discoloration, displacement, deviation, and retraction of nipple. Look for PDRH appearance, skin tethering, and skin fixity. And look for whether the lump is freely mobile, fixed to the breast tissue, fixed to the pectoralis muscle, and fixation to the cyst wall. So go in order according to the clinical examination. Then examine the ipsilateral axilla and the supraclavicular region. Always examine the contralateral breast, axilla, and the supraclavicular region. So by this examination, we will come to a definite diagnosis whether the patient is operable or goes to further stage. And also examine the other systems, abdomen, look for liver and ovarian metastasis, examine the chest for pleural effusion, consolidation, and look for bony tenderness over the spinal region. So coming to the classification, a small part of it, 95% of the breast malignancies are adenocarcinoma, which are divided into in situ and invasive carcinoma. This in situ is a neoplastic proliferation that is limited to the duct and lobule by the basement membrane. Once the basement membrane is breached, leads to invasive carcinoma. As you all know, the histological type, ductal carcinoma in situ, lobular carcinoma in situ, as well as invasive infiltrating ductal carcinoma, lobular carcinoma. These tubular, cubiform, medullary, mucinous colloid are the special types to have a better prognosis. So, what are the relative risk factors? So, we'll concentrate on the slightly increased risk factors. Always look for the histopathological finding. So, you have done excision of a benign cases. Look for the histopathological report. Look for moderate or florid hyperplasia is there, sclerosing adenosis, fibroadenoma with a complex feature, and duct papilloma. These have a slightly 1.5 to 2 times increased risk. And moderately risk, look for atypical ductal hyperplasia as well as atypical lobular hyperplasia. So this is the flowchart carcinoma in situ and invasive carcinoma. So this in situ constitute 8 to 10% lobular or ductal. So a few words about the Paget disease of the nipple. So they frequently present as chronic eczematous eruption of the nipple, which may progress to an ulcerated peeping lesion. Usually is associated with extensive ductal carcinoma in situ, or it may be associated with an invasive cancer. So what is the pathognomonic feature in histopathological finding? So the pathognomonic feature is the presence of large pale vacuolated cells, that is the Paget cells. So large pale vacuolated cells in the rete apex of the epithelium. So this is the pathognomonic feature of the Paget disease of nipple. So clinical presentation, they may present as a hard, irregular palpable lump, fluid orange appearance, or may present as Paget disease of the nipple with the tethering of skin retraction, axillary mass, and may present with a distant metastasis. So invasive ductal carcinoma. So the site of region is from the ductal region. So cross specimen. So we have few points about the pattern of gene expression. So the ER/PR status. So the luminal A constitute 40 to 50% of the no special type cancers. So ER positive and PR positive and HER2 negative. The luminal B constitute 15 to 20% of no special type ER positive. There will be a high proliferation rate of HER2 expression. So this is a triple positive. And a normal breast like 6 to 10% with a well differentiated ER positive and HER2 negative cancers. Basal like, so the triple negative ER, PR, and HER2 negative. So they will have a bad prognosis, and there will be one component 7 to 12%. They will have overexpression of HER2 new protein. So this can be identified by the core needle biopsy. So we can, by immunohistochemistry, we can assess the ER/PR status. A few words about invasive lobular carcinoma. It can most likely to be bilateral and multicentric. So what do you mean by multicentricity? When tumor foci are found in different quadrants, this is called multicentricity. Multifocal, when tumor foci are found in the same quadrant. So as you all know, well grading tumors, well differentiated and poorly differentiated. So the lobular carcinoma are characterized by the loss of cadherin, cell adhesion that function as a tumor suppressor. So mostly metastasis is common in the lobular carcinoma. So a few diagrammatic view of the lobular carcinoma. So this one from the ductal carcinoma, the portion where it arises from the lobular carcinoma. few words about inflammatory carcinoma. Constitute 1.5 to 3% of all cancers. They present as erythema, pudgy orange, and skin change thickening due to dermal lymphatic involvement without the presence of a palpable mass. Typically, the skin over the lesion will be warm, diffuse, scaly, and indurated with ridging. It may present with the characteristic of a cellulitis. So, diagnosis by the biopsy, and the disease progress rapidly, and prognosis is very poor. So now diagnosed. So early detection of breast cancer significantly will reduce the risk of death. So up to 20 to 49 years of ages. So physical examination by health professionals should be done every 1 to 2 years. 50 and over should be examined annually, and women should perform self-examination of their breast every month. So coming to the investigations, the first investigation, mammography, can be done as a screening process as well as a diagnostic process. So the soft tissue radiograph are taken by placing the breast in direct contact with an ultra-sensitive light, and it's exposed to a low voltage with a high amperage X-rays. Radiation dose is 0.1 centigrade. So what are the two views we are taken? Mediolateral oblique and craniocaudal. So it can be done as a screening purpose for asymptomatic women of more than 40 years. As a diagnostic, those women with the pain in the breast or with the mass discharge or with the family history of breast cancer, this mammography is done. So the findings in benign lesions will be round, punctate, and popcorn-like lesions. In malignancy, it may present as a solid mass with or without stellate features, or it may present with the asymmetric thickening with the microcalcifications, and the distortion of the architectural pattern of the breast will be identified. So the Virat scoring, you all know, 1 negative, 2 with SS, probable of benign findings, 3 probably benign, 4 suspicious of carcinoma, 5 highly suggestive of carcinoma. So the next investigation is ultrasonography, particularly useful in young women with a dense breast in whom mammography is difficult to interpret. And it can also distinguish between solid and cystic lesions. It can also be used to localize the impalpable area of breast pathology. Ultrasound guided aspiration can be done, and it cannot detect the lesion less than 1 millimeter in diameter. So these are the advantages of ultrasonography of breast. Where we will take MRI. So the MRI is useful to distinguish scar from recurrence. If a patient who had undergone previous breast conservation therapy for cancer. So this is the one indication that we can distinguish between scar from recurrence. It's also used in assessment of multifocality and multicentricity of lobular cancer. So the breast imaging modality for those women with implant, the best imaging modality, MRI. Undergraduates, you know the FNAC scoring, no epithelial cells, scanty epithelial cells, C2 benign, atypical cells, suspicious of malignancy, C5 malignant cells present. Then the true cut biopsy, it will give the type of carcinoma as well as you can also assess the tumor grade and the lymphovascular invasion. And now the ER/PR and HER2 status can also be assessed by true cut biopsy. So the other investigations that are needed to stage the disease, CT chest, whole body scan, and upper abdominal ultrasound with LFT. If no negative axilla, we can go for sentinel node biopsy. Then, as a routine, all the other investigations will show the general condition of this patient. So now, what is triple assessment? So you have seen clinically, imaging, and you have the pathological finding. So by clinical, age and examination, you can come to diagnosis, and by confirmation, imaging by ultrasound and mammography, and definitive diagnosis by FNAC and your true. So this gives a confident diagnosis of 100% of cases, that is by triple assessment, clinical, imaging, and pathology. So what is TNM cancer stage? So concentrate on this T1, tumor less than 2 centimeter in greatest dimension. As UGs, you can, it's enough. T2, more than 2 centimeter but less than 5 centimeter. T3, more than tumor more than 5 centimeter. And what is T4A? A is extension to chest wall. T4B, involvement of skin either as pleural ulceration or satellite skin nodules or edema of the skin. T4C is T4A and B, and your T4D is inflammatory breast cancer. So T1 less than 2, T2 more than 2 but less than 5, T3 more than 5, and T4A chest wall involvement, B skin involvement, and D is inflammatory breast cancer. Again here, young one metastasis to mobile ipsilateral axillary node. Our UG level you can concentrate N1 mobile axillary lymph node, N2 fixed ipsilateral axillary lymph node, N3 where metastasis in the supraclavicular. As UG level you can concentrate Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
So up to stage 2, 1 and A, early breast carcinoma. This stage 3A, accounts up to T3 and N2. 3A. Stage 3B, T4, N2. If N3 comes, it comes under stage 3C. Then as you all know, stage 4, any T, any N, M1. So stage 1 and 2, early breast carcinoma. Stage 3, locally advanced breast carcinoma. Stage 4, metastatic breast carcinoma. So you should concentrate on first you have to write the TNF staging, stage grouping, then comes under early, locally advanced or at metastatic cancer. So now you have diagnosed. So final diagnosis, the site right or left side, TNF staging, TNM, tumor size, nodal status, and whether the metastasis or not. Stage grouping, stage 1, 2, 3 locally advanced or metastatic cancer. Then whether the patient is under premenopausal or postmenopausal. What about the PR, ER status? So these 6 findings are to write in the final diagnosis. Site of the lesion, TNM staging, stage grouping, early, it fits into early, locally advanced or metastatic. Whether the patient is under premenopausal or postmenopausal, and the status. As we all here at the government college, here the immunohistochemistry is not, so our students should write ER/PR status unknown. So now you have diagnosed. Now what are the treatment modalities? So it is a multimodality approach. So the patient should undergo surgery, followed by chemotherapy, and whether there is indication for radiotherapy, and whether they have to undergo hormonal therapy. So multidisciplinary approach has to be taken for management of carcinoma. We'll look at the surgery. For in situ stage, what will you do? So lobular carcinoma, mostly chemoprevention or may go for bilateral total mastectomy. In situ carcinoma. In ductal carcinoma, the disease is limited. You can go for lumpectomy with post-op radiation. If extensive disease, will go for modified radical mastectomy. So for stage 1 and 2, what will you do? So the breast, as most of our patients will not turn for follow-up, will straight away go for modified radical mastectomy. But still, there is patient who prefers for breast conservation therapy. So with lumpectomy, followed by radiation. So whether BCS or MRM assessment of lymph node status is done, clinically negative axillary lymph node status has to be detected by sentinel node biopsy if clinically negative axilla. When clinically palpable node, then axillary clearance has to be done. So these 2 points you have to be remaining. So what is the principle of breast conservative surgery? Here, the breast tissue, the nipple areola complex, and the skin are preserved. Breast tissue, nipple areola complex, and the skin are preserved. So it's always associated, should undergo radiation therapy. That is, they can be followed by quarantectomy, and then through a separate incision, you can do axillary node clearance, followed by post-operative radiation therapy. And lumpectomy also can be done with 1 centimeter normal surrounding breast tissue is excised. So either you can go for quadrantectomy or by lumpectomy, this breast conservation surgery can be done. So what are the indications for lumpectomy? So the early breast carcinoma with a tumor size less than 4 cm can go for, where facility of radiation should be present. So what are the contraindications? With multicentric tumor, we can't do lumpectomy, and then the history of previous breast irradiation, don't go. Pregnancy and persistent positive margin even after surgical attempt, don't go lumpectomy. And if the patient is having a collagen vascular disease, so these are the contraindications for lumpectomy. So what are the disadvantages if you do lumpectomy? So there is a higher rate of local recurrence, more common in younger women, and with the tumor, with the high grade tumor, there will be recurrence. So the patient always need radiotherapy after surgery. So what will you do? So we follow modified radical mastectomy. This is the most acceptable and widely practiced surgery. So what are the advantages of radical mastectomy? It gives a good post-operative cosmetic appearance. We maintain the motor activity, and there will be a low rate of post-operative arm edema, and we can go for yearly post-operative breast reconstruction. So these are the advantages of modified radical mastectomy. So as a final year, you have to know what are the 3 types of modified radical mastectomy. So PAT is modified radical mastectomy. So you are removing the skin, breast tissue, nipple areolar complex, and the pectoralis fascia, and your pectoralis minor muscle is removed. What you are doing in Scanlon modified radical mastectomy, the pectoralis minor muscle is divided from its attachment to the coracoid process. So you are removing the level 1 node, which is lateral to the pectoralis minor, behind the pectoralis minor level 2 node, and medial to the pectoralis minor level 3 node can be removed. And finally, this pectoralis minor is resutured to the coracoid process. This is done in Scanlon. Whereas here, the pectoralis minor is completely removed. So all the level 3, 1, 2, 3 nodes can be removed. Here you are dividing and resuturing it in Scanlon. What we are doing is in Achim-Class modified radical. By simply retracting the pectoralis minor muscle, we can able to remove the level 1, 2, and 3 nodes. So this is widely practiced nowadays. So simple retraction of the pectoralis minor muscle, we can able to remove the level 1 2 and the 3 apical node we can able to remove. So so your answer should be Achin-Claus modified radical mastectomy. So what are the differences between BATIS and SCAN1? You should be able to answer. So what are the 3 important structures that should be preserved? The axillary vein, the Bell's nerve, long thoracic nerve, and your cephalic vein. So what's the incision? Transverse elliptical incision, including the nipple areolar complex and the skin overlying the tumor, together with the skin margins 1 to 6 centimeters from the caudal end as well as the cephalic end of the tumor has to be removed. So the anatomical boundaries where its limitations. So you should go for medially up to the sternal border, laterally up to the anterior margin of latissimus dorsi muscle, and superiorly up to the clavicle, and inferiorly up to the upper 1/4 of the rectus. So you should. This question is frequently asked. Medially up to the sternal border, laterally up to the anterior margin of latissimus dorsi muscle, superiorly up to the clavicle, and inferiorly up to the upper 1/4 of your rectus. So what are the complications? So as you all know, seroma, lymph collection, secondary infection, flap necrosis, hemorrhage, pain and numbness in the axilla, the nerves have been injured, shoulder dysfunction, injury or thrombosis of the axillary vein, thinning of scapula, and lymphedema. But all complications will be nil by doing Achin-Claus modified radical mastectomy. So you have done the surgery, then what you have to do? So the patient should undergo adjuvant therapy. So you should follow what are the indications for adjuvant therapy. So why you are giving this adjuvant therapy? So it's given to increase the chance of long-term disease-free survival of the patient. So that is the main objective of this adjuvant therapy, to increase the chance of long-term disease-free survival. So it can be radiotherapy or chemo or hormonal therapy. So we have done for early breast carcinoma, Achin-Claus modified radical mastectomy. So what should you look for? So you should look for the histopathological report. What are the indications for adjuvant radiotherapy? So look for how many nodes are positive. So all node positive cases should undergo adjuvant chemotherapy. Then what are the receptor status? HAR2 positive cases, all triple negative cases should undergo adjuvant chemotherapy, and all tumor size more than 0.5 centimeter, they should given adjuvant chemotherapy, and with a less than 70 years of age. So these are the indications for adjuvant chemotherapy. Node positive cases, HAR positive and triple negative, and the tumor size more than 0.5 centimeter, all patients should undergo adjuvant chemotherapy. So what are the drugs commonly used? So the CAF regimen, cyclophosphamide, adriamycin, and 5-fluorouracil. You should also know the second drug, taxanes, and the third line drug, gemcitabine. So what are the drugs? Cyclophosphamide, how much? 600 milligram, adriamycin 50, and 5-fluorouracil 600 milligram. So it should be given once in 21 days, and for 6 cycles it has to be given. So the adjuvant HER2 positive, what is the newer drug? Trastuzumab. This is a monoclonal antibody against your tyrokinase receptor. So it is administered in HER2 positive to improve the disease-free survival. The loading dose is 4 milligram per kilogram body weight, and its maintenance dose is 2 milligrams given for 9 weeks. So what are the side effects? All you know. Infection, nausea, vomiting, and anthracyclines will lead to heart problem. Trastuzumab can also induce nausea, vomiting, heart flushes, and joint pain. So what is the adjuvant hormonal therapy? Here it is used in all receptor positive patients in all age group, and it gives prophylaxis against carcinoma of opposite breast formation. So what are the drugs? Anti-estrogen. The tamoxifen is commonly available. The second line drug, anastrozole and letrozole in postmenopausal. So few words about tamoxifen, which will be asked in your exams. So the dosage is 20 milligram once daily for 5 years. So the half-life of the drug is 7 days, used commonly in premenopausal women. So what is the advantage? It reduces the recurrence rate by 25%. It's equally effective in male breast carcinomas. So the advantages, so used in metastatic carcinoma of breast, and the side effect, you all know, hot flushes, vaginal discharge and nausea. Tamoxifen also increases the risk of cataract development, and these aromatase inhibitors also produces hot flushes, vaginal dryness, and menopausal joint pain, arthralgia, and myalgia during treatment. So what are the indications for adjuvant radiotherapy? So 4 or more positive axillary nodes with the lymphovascular invasion and high-grade tumor. All these patients should undergo adjuvant radiotherapy and look for the resection margin, whether positive or negative. So positive should undergo tumor with the skin and chest wall involvement should undergo radiotherapy, and size of the tumor more than 5 cm. All patients should undergo adjuvant radiotherapy. So these are the indications for adjuvant radiotherapy. 4 or more node positive with the lymphovascular invasion and high-grade tumor, resection margin positive, skin and chest involvement, and size more than 5 cm. So what are the radiotherapy? Type of adjuvant radiotherapy. First, accelerated partial breast irradiation. So this we use daily fraction doses by increasing the radiation fraction size and decreasing the target volume. So this is given mainly to the breast conservation surgery, the lumpectomy bedside. Few words about brachytherapy. It is also called as internal radiation therapy. It involves placing a radioactive material inside or next to the tumor, where we give higher dose of radiation to treat a smaller area and in a less period of time. So the external radiotherapy. So it covers the breast area and axilla in case of if axillary dissection is not done, and internal mammary and supraclavicular area. So this is the commonest what we are giving. So the total dosage is 5000 centigrade unit. So 200 centigrade unit 5 days a week for 6 weeks we are giving. So few words about intraoperative radiotherapy. So this administration of low energy high dose radiation directly to the tumor bed with the minimal exposure of the surrounding tissue in the operating room can be done. So what are the effects? So the immediate sterilization of the residual tumor cells in the operative bedside itself is done, and also it inhibits stimulating effect of fluid. So these are the side effects of your radiotherapy. So you are given adjuvant radiation chemotherapy. So the goal of reconstructive surgery after mastectomy. So immediately if you are able to close the wound, so primary closure can be done, or you can go for a breast reconstruction if your wound is not getting approximated. So what are the common options? So this latissimus dorsi flap, LD flap, and the transverse rectus abdominis myocutaneous flap, tram flap, it can be done at the operating table itself, and followed by we can go for implant or using silicone gel. So these are the management of early breast carcinoma. So you have done a chin class modified radical mastectomy. You are following the histopathological report, and your indications for adjuvant radiotherapy and adjuvant chemotherapy you have seen. Now comes the locally advanced breast carcinoma, that is stage 3. What you are going to do for this stage 3 disease. So these patients are putting under neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So what is neoadjuvant chemotherapy? Before surgery, you are giving 2 cycles of CAF regimen to downstage the tumor. Then you have to assess the response. If the patient is responding well, then you can go for modified radical mastectomy. Then you have to follow the histopathological report. Then the patient should undergo adjuvant chemotherapy as well as adjuvant radiotherapy. So how will you assess the response? So you are giving 2 cycles of CF regimen. So the complete responder is, so if you are seeing pre-operatively 10 cross 5 centimeter tumor and you are giving 2 cycles of CF regimen, then you are seeing no palpable tumor after your 2 cycles of chemotherapy. So this comes under complete responder. So you should mark the size of the tumor before giving chemotherapy. Then what is partial responder? Any decrease in size of the tumor or node when compared to the pre-treatment. So there will be a reduction in the size of the tumor. So what is non-responder? There is less than only 50% decrease in size or there may be 25% increase in size. So these are the non-responders. What is progressive disease? There may be 25% increase in size. So concentrate on these two. Complete responder. So you are giving, assess the tumor size 10 cross 5 centimeter, 2 doses of chemotherapy given. After your 2 doses, no palpable tumor after chemotherapy. So your clearance should be to the original site of the tumor. 10 centimeter 1 to 2 centimeter clearance you have to do MRI. What is partial responder? So any decrease in size of the tumor, so 50% reduction in size, you can go for another 1 cycle of chemotherapy, neoadjuvant. Then there is reduction, then go for MRI. Non-responder, no decrease in size, go for other mode of therapy. That completes the locally advanced breast cancer. Next, metastatic breast cancer, that is stage 4. What are the site of metastasis? It can go for bone, it can go for lung, with or without pleural effusion, pericardial effusion, with the brain metastasis, to other lymph nodes. Then skin, soft tissues of chest wall and axilla may present with metabolic complications like hypercalcemia or abdominal metastasis with the liver, ascites and Kuchenberg tumor. It can present. So what are the treatment options for metastatic breast cancer? Heroic. So hormone therapy, endocrine therapy, go for radiotherapy, put the patient on estrogen blockers or immunotherapy, and finally chemotherapy. So the treatment options for metastatic breast cancer is heroic, hormone, endocrine, radiotherapy, estrogen blockers, immunotherapy, or chemotherapy. So as a surgeon, what are the indications for surgery in metastatic breast cancer? Sometimes they may present with a fungating, foul-smelling tumor. Then we can go for local regional control, can do toilet mastectomy. In case of spinal cord compression, to relieve the compression, can go for laminectomy. And in pathological fractures, we can do internal fixation followed by radiotherapy. Localized chest wall lesions can be excised. So these are the few indications in metastatic breast cancer. So indications for radiotherapy in metastatic breast cancer. You can give radiotherapy for pain relief in skeletal metastasis and also given radiotherapy for spinal cord compression in brain metastasis and tumor recurrence in chest wall. So these are the indications for radiotherapy in metastatic breast cancer. Few words about sentinel node lymph node biopsy. So sentinel lymph node is defined as the first lymph node drainage to which cancer cells are most likely to spread from a primary tumor. So when you will do sentinel lymph node biopsy? Early breast cancer with clinically node negative axilla. How will you do? So it can be detected by a radioactive technetium labeled sulfur colloid or isosulfan fluoride. So this radioactive colloid is injected into the subareolar region or near the primary tumor 2 to 24 hours before surgery. Whereas this isosulfan can be injected at the time of surgery in the same region, and a handheld camera is used to identify the location of this So put a 3 to 4 centimeter transverse incision in the hairline of maxilla. Blunt dissection is done to visualize the dye containing the lymph node, which are traced by the gamma health camera. Then that node is removed and sent for histopathological examination. With the help of Langerhans camera, you can identify the dye-filled lymph node. So one interpretation: if your sentinel lymph node biopsy is negative, no need for further axillary dissection. If positive, you have to continue the axillary dissection. So now you have covered all the stage, early stage, locally advanced and metastatic. What are the treatment options available? So coming to the prognosis, what are the prognostic factors that will assess the prognosis of the patient? Nodal status, more than 4 node positive for prognosis. Age of the patient, less than 35 years, also for prognosis. Size of the tumor, when the tumor less than 1 centimeter is having excellent prognosis. Now all cases what we are presenting are more than 1 centimeter, so for prognosis. Tumor grade, high grade tumor also favors for prognosis. Histology, this special type cancers, the lobular, tubular, tubiform, all have a better prognosis, whereas our infiltrating ductal carcinoma, lobular carcinoma, no special type having a poor prognosis. ER/PR positive cases will have a better prognosis. This ploidy is a measurement of the DNA of the cell. So aneuploidy will have a poor prognosis, and these P53 and epidermal growth factor also goes for the prognosis of the patient. So nodal status, age of the patient, size of the tumor, look for the tumor grade, histology, ER/PR status, and ploidy of the patient, and P53 and your epidermal growth factor. All these gives the prognosis of the patient. So recap. So stage 1 and 2, early breast carcinoma, go for Hutchins plus modified radical mastectomy. So since our patients are in turn for follow-up, we will go for a Hutchins plus modified radical mastectomy. For stage 3, that is locally advanced breast carcinoma, put the patient on neoadjuvant chemotherapy, assess the response, then put the patient on follow MR. In stage 4 disease, metastatic breast carcinoma, the patient will have undergo for palliative chemo or radiotherapy. So stage 1 and 2, early breast carcinoma, stage 3, locally advanced, stage 4, metastatic breast carcinoma. Now I want some volunteers to tell the management for these patients. Priya, can you pick up two or three volunteers? Give an attempt. Final year students.
The final year students.
Otherwise, it will be a monotonous. So I want some interaction, whether they have learned or not.
You can just raise your hand or just you can type in the chat box. Final year students. Hosanna. Agatya Varman. You can raise your hands or chat box. You can type who want to answer this. This is your case. How do you manage this patient? Now, after listening to the lecture, you will be able to tell us how do you manage this case.
So first see the picture of this patient, then I'll give some case scenario regarding this patient.
Okay.
The 65-year lady with a lump of left breast of 1 year duration. The lump is around 7 × 6 centimeter and is fixed to the chest wall. Ipsilateral fixed axillary node of 3 × 2 centimeter is seen. And also in the right axilla, 2 cross 1 centimeter fixed guard node is seen. Now, what is your TNF staging?
Hosanna, unmute Hosanna. HLRS.
Just give an attempt. It may be right or wrong. We'll discuss. Hosanna.
Hosanna,
Okay.
are you there?
Turn on your mic.
You can try this. What is the staging? You have seen the picture and it has been given. Hosanna, are you there? Okay.
Write the TNM staging.
Hosanna,
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
yes, sir. Yes. Can you just try the TNM staging? Can you tell me the T? What are the T? The madam told the staging. What do you think the size? What is the size here? It has given 7 into.
7 into 6 centimeters.
What is the next? Can you read that? Next to 7 into 6 centimeter. What has been given?
It is fixed to the chest wall.
What is the T stage now?
Yes.
What is the T stage now? You have seen, no? What is T4A? What is T4A? Tumor of any size, component of the chest wall. What is the end staging here? Ipsilateral fixed axillary node.
And
Yes,
you have
sir.
gone to the right axilla, contralateral.
Ipsilateral fixed node and contralateral fixed R node. What is
It is T4A. So
okay, T4A?
T4A, okay, okay. End staging. If it goes to the contralateral axilla, what is the stage?
N2A, sir.
N2, opposite axilla.
Contralateral. See that next sentence. Swelling is in the left axilla, but the
If it gone to the opposite axilla, whether it is metastasis or not.
end staging. It is N2 or
Metastasis is in-
don't bother about A, B and all. For final years, we don't care. Whether it is N2 or
metastasis present, sir.
N2, okay. What about the M status? It gone to the right axilla. Yes, you are correct.
M1.
M1, okay.
complete that.
So T4A, N2 and M1.
Yes, ma'am.
What is this?
Okay. Now you have sustained the TNF staging. Now stage grouping. Whether it is fitting into early, locally advanced or metastatic.
What is your M staging? You told M staging.
I said M1, sir.
M1. Next time. Straight away then what is stage 1, 2, 3, 4?
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am, I couldn't get you, ma'am. It's metastatic, ma'am.
Metastatic. So stage 4 disease. Okay. Very good. So 7 cross 6 centimeter fixed to the chest wall T4A and your ipsilateral fixed axillary node N2. It gone to the right axilla. So metastasis is M1. So TNM staging T4A, N2, M1. So it comes under stage 4. So what is the management then? Hosanna. So by doing the clinical examination, we can come to what sort of management we will give. So the patient will go only under palliative chemo or palliative radiotherapy. Okay, thank you, Hosanna, for your answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Next volunteer.
Agastya Verma. Agati Verma. Agati Verma, are you there?
Okay. Just see the picture. I will give the clinical scenario of this patient. Agati Verma, are you there?
Any volunteers?
Or you can write it in the chat box also.
Chat box.
So I'll give the clinical scenario. This 40 years old lady with lump over left breast, 3 years duration. So the tumor size is 8 cross 5 centimeter, skin not pinchable and with edema, ipsilateral mobile axillary node, opposite breast and axilla normal and supraclavicular region normal. Now what is your TNM stage?
Deepak? Deepak, are you there?
Most
Deepak?
of our students will remain silent when asked questions. This is not your final exam, just to make an attempt.
Yes, sir. They have entered the final year through online.
8 cross 5 centimeter, skin not pinchable. Ipsilateral mobile axillary node.
Jafna, can you try that?
Who is trying?
Deva. You can try that. Deva Varshini.
Someone has come. Okay. Who is trying? Just a few minutes.
Yes, Srihari. Srihari, you can try.
Are you write it in the chat box also?
They are writing. You can see that. Dr. Nangalakshmi, can you see that chat box?
I'm not able to.
I can't speak. Yes, Srihari, you can say now.
Sir,
Yes, you can try. What is
8
that?
cross 5 centimeters, skin not pinchable. Just to say the T staging. Srihari.
What is the T staging?
sir, T4N1 M0.
T4N1
M0.
M0. Okay, very good. Comes under which type? Early, local, advanced. T4N1.
It is a third stage.
Third stage, local advanced. Very good. Comes under stage 3B. So management,
Yes, ma'am.
what will you do for this patient initially? Srihari.
Ma'am,
What
can
will
you
you
hear
do
me,
for
ma'am?
this patient? What will you do for this patient? Management.
Ma'am, adjuvant, neoadjuvant
Neoadjunctive. Very good. Excellent answer. So locally
for 3
advanced
months,
breast
ma'am,
cancer,
and then
first
surgery,
two cycles
medical,
of chemotherapy.
modified radical mastectomy.
Yes. Mastectomy. Okay. Very
Yes,
good.
ma'am, mastectomy.
Mastectomy. They have not completed the ENT exam.
Yes, sir, mastectomy, sir.
Okay. Very excellently done. Then the third volunteer.
Deva Varshini.
Okay. Devashni.
Is she there? Or
So this is the clinical picture.
sir, I can't speak. One second. Unmute Deva Varshini. Deva Varshini,
So yes. See the clinical picture. I'll give the clinical scenario.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. There is fullness in the right upper quadrant, and you can see the level of the nipple. So
Yes.
right nipple is slightly at a higher level. Okay. Now we'll look into the clinical scenario. 50 years old lady with a lump over right breast, 6 months duration. So there is a 4+3 centimeter lump with the skin pinchable, ipsilateral mobile axillary node 1×1 centimeter, and opposite breast and axilla found to be normal.
Ma'am, audible, ma'am.
Yes, audible.
T2, ma'am.
T2, right?
Ma'am.
N1,
M1, ma'am.
why M1?
Oh, sorry, ma'am. Opposite breast is normal.
Opposite
M0.
breast and axilla normal. Okay.
Okay.
So T2, N1, M0 comes under which is stage?
Stage 2B, ma'am.
Stage 2B.
So stage 2.
See and tell me. Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. T2, N1, M0. So stage 2B comes under early breast carcinoma. Very good answer. So management,
Ma'am, modified radical mastectomy, ma'am.
what type?
Ma'am,
What type of modified radical mastectomy? What will you do? Patty, Scanlon, or Achinclass?
ma'am, I don't know about that, ma'am.
I don't know what.
Doesn't told, no,
We
but
have to do Achinclass modified radical mastectomy. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Deva Varshini. So very good answer.
Thank you.
Okay. So nice interaction with these students, Kosanna, Srihari, and Deva Varshini. Now you all be like this. So a month before exams, we prefer books of foreign authors. A week before, we prefer books of local authors. A day before, we try to read our own notes. On the day of exam, we will pick up the authors. So I conclude my speech with one of my favorite leader, quote, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Sir, one of the very important characteristic of the student is to question. Now let the students ask questions. Over to students.
any questions?
Any doubt?
You can chat in the box. You can chat. Dr. Vivalakshmi, already we had two questions. One is how frequently we can do a mammogram for screening. What is the radiation exposure? I think already you mentioned that 0.1 centimeter.
Yes, yes. 0.1 centigrade. And what are the views? Medial lateral oblique view and cranial view.
I think
So screening more than 40 years of age, we can do a screening procedure for all the women more than 40 years of age. I'm not able to see the chat box here. Any other question?
you can close the screen share. You can close the screen sharing.
Chat box. Chat box.
All panelists can attend this. The chat box is open only, Vivalakshmi. Okay, right?
Yes.
Any questions from students? I think they are about to break for a lunch and they have a class following this.
Okay.
So, anyhow, I sincerely thank Dr. Gangalakshmi. You have extensively covered the topic. The students who have listened to this topic from the beginning to the end, I think it is easy for them to write both essay question and also the clinical case. You have extensively covered all the things, including the clinical examination, staging, investigation, and stage by stage management and managing the metastatic complication and adjuvant theory, adjuvant therapy also. Thank you so much for enumerating all of those things. I think we received one question from our anatomy HOD. Can you explain TUG flap for reconstruction of the breast?
Yes, once again, repeat your question.
Can you explain TUG flap for reconstruction? What is TUG flap?
TUG.
Cramp flap or TUG flap? Shanta Mohan. Transverse? Can you see the chat box, Dr. Gangalakshmi? Hello?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. You are audible.
Sir, recently I heard TUG flaps, that is transverse upper gracilis. I came to know that for cosmetic purpose from the inner aspect of upper thigh, part of a gracilis flap is used for the reconstruction. So I just wanted to know much more about this type of reconstruction of the breast, sir.
Dr. Gangalakshmi?
Madam, if
I am not having experience with this. We always go for a LD and in our institution, Trump flap.
Madam, as far as the flap is concerned, the commonly used is LD flap and Trump flap. And again, we have also not come across so many cases, possibly recent one maybe. So it will be better for those persons who do this flap to answer. So this upper gracilis flap is not a common one to use. Possibly a newer one which they have come across. We have to see are the plastic surgeons are the better persons to answer this question who are doing this flaps.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, there is no. Thank you, Dr. Gangalakshmi, for enlightening us in this topic, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation within a short period. Within 2 days, you have prepared and you have given a wonderful lecture and did justice to the topic. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all the students who are there until the end, and our faculties. Thank you, Gangalakshmi.
Thank you once again. I thank your chairman and dean of Annapurna Medical College and especially HOD of surgery, Dr. Kalyan Samantha, for giving this opportunity. And I also thank the students for their kind patience and the interaction with me. Thank you once again. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.